Greetings and the best of salutations. It would be prayer, power, peace, patience, prosperity, that which encompass and embody praise, which is an informed act or an informed activity or action. The human experience is very fragile. As we continue to evolve, grow, develop, and mature. We look at the intermingling and interactions with the environment in which he or she lives, and the mingling and interactions with with each other, and the treatment thereof. It is said in some urban settings, we're going to keep it 100, we're going to keep it real. Real in the Latin sense represents royalty. Royalty really is how we treat one another, in the manner and way in which we mingle and interact and engage with one another. Remember that a child is watching what you do. The manner and way in which you treat one another, and the manner and way in which you treat the environment, the interaction with the environment in which you live, and in the manner and way in which the child is being treated. We, many who understand, I would say, and those who may have some type of illness, disease, or sickness, if there is no cure, then you must try to treat it. Do you give it a treat in exchange of trying to trick it? Needless to say, we live in a word oppressive environment where I use the word treat or trick because there are many trinkets that are dangled before us that put us in a position to act out in a way, unfortunately, that is uncivil. Someone says, I believe, John Jackson wrote in his book, Man, God, and Civilization. He was maybe quoting Will Durant. Just using these names. But he said a civilized society consists of scholars and scientists. Civilized, to be civil, to be a citizen. Yet to be grown up and to see through the child of an eye, the eyes of a child, as he sees how people are intermingling and interacting with one another in the environment in which he or she lives and they lives, and how that child is being treated is communicating a message. And that child sees that, and he harboring certain things as he continued to grow up in the environment in which he sees the manner and way in which people are intermingling with themselves and with the environment, and how they are interacting with him or her. And then his or her countenance starts to fall, starts to fail, of putting confidence in the interactions and intermingling that he or she is seeing. And then he or she starts to lose once again that confidence in the development and growth of his or her humanity. So he or she starts to develop in some medical field. Maybe he or she may become very neurotic and may become psychotic, and which leads to psychopathic behavior. But in one of those phases, he or she becomes out of touch with reality. His or her emotions become unbalanced. So he or she tries to compensate and make up for that balance. For that imbalance. Some will participate in consuming any form of drugs, alcohol, or anything that is extreme, to try to make up for the balance. And I'm not casting any dispersions on anyone who may participate in those extended extra curriculum of activities, because male and female are just merely activities. Masculine and feminine are just merely activities to me. So when the trying to make up for this chemical unbalances, he or she becomes entertained by that. His or her imagination starts to go in a direction that is misguided, untamed, uncivilized, and uncultivated. So therefore, he or she becomes wild, lost, losing his or her ability to exercise his or her ability to be able to reason. He or she becomes mentally incapacitated. And when a person becomes mentally incapacitated, whatever you say to them, it's not registering at that time, because he or she, his reality has become distorted. His vision has become impaired. He or she is unable to see clearly. So his or her reality becomes the reality of extremism, or some will call it misuse aggression. And when he or she misuses anything, it all stems from a message that has been communicated to the child at an early age. And he or she feels that those whom he or she has come to learn from in the environment in which he or she has come to be a part of, it has been abused and it has been misused. So therefore, a twisted justification comes into play. And when that twisted justification becomes in a play, that abuse, uncivil activity becomes the norm. How do we change these things, and if they can be changed? Well, I've learned that change is the product of human effort, and effort must be synthesized into a useful purpose. Must try to do our best to not to cast any dispersions on anyone. It's the language, the manner and way in which we interact with one another, and the manner and way in which the message in which we are communicating to the child at an early age. I possibly can minimize some of the uncivil, untamed activity that a child may be harboring at a young age. Then all of a sudden, the child becomes an adult, an adolescent into an adult. Those things that do not go unchecked and unnoticed, because people may not be paying too much attention to it. They may be spending time trying to make a living for themselves, pulling them away, not noticing, and don't know what to do with the child who may be experiencing these certain behaviors of isolation, these certain outbursts, and some may not have show any outbursts openly, and they just may be just harboring things and keeping it in. And at the right time, opportunity will present itself, and this is associated with this is associated with suppressed emotions as well. So we have to find means and ways to communicate a better message. Media, press, and television, misuse and abuse. Those who consider to have of greater value than other people. It seems as though people are in this world, in this society, would come here just for pleasure, don't realize that there's responsibility that comes with pleasure, because nature comes to awaken our consciousness, and that we must be responsible with. So, as a humanity and as a society, we are all responsible to be accountable for our actions, what we say and what we do. And may we not take each other for granted. May we not take what each other do, or what we do, for the benefit and the betterment of this life existence that is housed in our body, for granted. Take a moment to look at the texture of your skin, to see the increases of it, how it is on your body, the hair, the fingernails, the hair, and how even how the hair, when you wash, the hair can stick to the the ceramic of a vase or a tub, like glue, you know. You look at the nostrils of the nose, the pupil in the eye, the cerebral cortex in your brain, your left and your right hemisphere, the digits on your hand, the toes, the extension of your arm, your elbow, your kidney, your liver, the human anatomy. It's the life itself. When I see life, I hear the voice, I see the people, and they may be acting in a certain way because we come from infinity, but yet we're here just a moment in time. Let's make the best of it. And then we look at everything that is created. It's the benefit. Look at the birds, the flies, the fish in the sea. That's how they function. You look at the water in its supply. You look at the sun that gives the light. How do you measure time? Just by the light that it's giving off. So I say this in closing. Take the time. Pay attention. Because everything is your teacher. And may some of the younger folk come to realize that you are not invincible. May you come to realize to take the time to appreciate what all has been done for you and given to you. And that which has been done for you and given to you is life. I liken life as a living memorial for everyone. Yes, Socrates says, do not do to others what angers you if done to you by others. You inspire people who pretend not to even see you. Trust me. Bruce Lee said this: instead of buying your children, because children are the extension of their parents' social relationships, instead of buying your children all the things you never had, you should teach them all the things you were never taught. Material wears out, but knowledge stays. Remember this. All the material things that we have acquired in life, it wears out. But the things that people say and what they do and the manner and way in which we treat one another, it stays. And remember, any pain, any frustration, any anxiety, anything that stays with you is a sickness and it's an illness. And it must find a way out. Because in life, there is a enter and there is a exit. May we learn to cultivate the best and bring out the best and not the worst. And may we interact in the best of ways and not the worst of ways. And knowing that ignorance is the disease and it looks toward the learned as a cure for guidance. So young folks are looking for the older folks for guidance. But yet, if the older folks are in their fixation, are in their ignorance, caught up in the material world, and you see more than likely how they will respond and how they will react. Take heed, hear the cry. Talk to you.